When talking about making money off podcasts, monetization and sponsorship is what pops into everyone's head at first, but it has to be done right. The size of your audience, because this is very important. When looking for a sponsorship deal, it has to make sense for both parties. This way of monetization I push the most because it builds trust with your audience and it is the best way to create passive income with your podcast. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Lead Gen Podcast, teaching you how to generate leads for your business or brand through podcasting. In this episode, I'm going to teach you how you can make money with your podcast. Let me get the big elephant out of the room. I'm going to show you how to acquire sponsorship deals at the end a little bit, but I'm going to get into other stuff first, the basics that you need to know. The first real opportunity to generate money through your podcast is to use it as a lead gen tool for your business and or brand. By publishing episodes and content, you can drive all of those leads to your products directly or your brand. And this leads to email list signups, followers on social media. And this all leads to that you can leverage that now warm audience down the line. So you can use your podcast to drive traffic to your offers, services, programs, online courses, coaching, or physical product. This way of monetization I push the most because it builds trust with your audience and it is the best way to create passive income with your podcast. Okay, now going back to it, I'm going to teach you how to set up sponsorship deals for beginners. When talking about making money off podcasts, monetization and sponsorship is what pops into everyone's head at first, but it has to be done right. So if you think that you're going to start a podcast on a Tuesday and have a sponsorship deal on a Friday, you're very wrong. I have worked with small sponsorship deals with your local store down the street or multi-million-dollar deals with brands like Ghostbed and Liquid IV. Off the top, when it comes to sponsorships, brands want to know if I give a podcast X amount of dollars, will I get X back in my return? So you as the podcaster have to know the size of your audience. You have to know your niche and if this sponsorship deal makes sense. That is probably the most important thing to have your podcast work long-term, build up the trust with your audience, and have it actually work with the sponsorship. So example, if I have a podcast on women's health, wellness, workouts, that sort of thing, I love Ben & Jerry's as much as the next person, but I'm probably not going to want them to sponsor my podcast. It doesn't make sense for you. It doesn't make sense for Ben & Jerry's. They will not see X return back in their investment because it is not going to convert. An example, this podcast is about lead gen for your business or brand. I am not going to have a baseball bat company sponsor my podcast because it's not going to convert. I'm going to have something that has to do with business and or podcasting. Not even that, going back to the women's wellness workout podcast example. If I am using that podcast to leverage business leads for my personal training, let's say, I don't want a sponsor that's my competition. That does not make sense. So always take direct sales and direct leads always over a sponsorship deal. Going back to the size of your audience because this is very important. When looking for a sponsorship deal, it has to make sense for both parties. Let's say the sponsor sells a physical product. It markets for $100 and your audience size is 10,000 downloads a month. You need to come up with a price point that makes sense for both of you to be profitable in some sense. They need to know if I give you X, will I get X in return? And you need to know if I speak in front of my audience that I took so long to build up and make niche and make quality, does it make sense to give me the airtime to actually do this? So for beginners, I actually highly advise this, but here is how you are going to leverage sponsorship deals without anyone putting out any money. This is a great way to get started, and not even that for potential sponsors in the future. They will see that you know how to work with brands. This is a little trick I love to use in sponsorship package deals, but I always invite the CEO or someone in the marketing department to come on for an episode and speak in front of my clients. Once again, this is a product or service or whatever this brand is that makes sense for your audience. So crucial. I know they keep saying it. By this, you are allowing the sponsor to speak directly to their niche audience. It allows you to leverage something that doesn't involve money so that you can work out some sort of sponsorship deal. Another way of not involving money upfront is to have the company send you their product and have you feature it on your podcast. Once again, this is probably more for beginners, mid-sized podcasters, but I really do like this. It involves not a lot of risk on both ends. It involves not a lot of risk for the sponsor, and it allows you to show the product in real time to your audience. Here are some other ways that you can leverage sponsorship deals without either party having to put out money. You can have a sponsor's physical product featured in your repurposed content, whether that's repurposed social media content or in some type of graphic. This is all about product placement, which is huge in the marketing industry, as we all know. So definitely try this strategy if you are looking to get a sponsorship of some sort. This last one is one that I absolutely love because it doesn't involve a lot of money put out from either party, and both of you have a lower risk that you have to put out. A great hybrid of all this is affiliate marketing. It's a win-win for both, and it is low risk. It's a low risk for the sponsor because they don't have to put out any money upfront. And it's great for you because you can make as much or as little as you put in the work for. So it is definitely scalable passive income. Overall, when building out any sponsorship deal, make sure you know your niche, the size of your audience, but overall, just be super cautious and make sure that this deal makes sense for both parties. Because I take long-term relationships over the short term any day with any of my clients, whether that's a podcast that's just starting or one that's been around for 7 years and has 30,000 downloads for every single episode. If you have any sponsorship questions, comment below or send me a DM to any of my social platforms. I have all of those linked below in the show notes. Until then, make sure that you subscribe to the podcast because I release episodes every single Thursday and I have some really, really great guests coming up. So I definitely do not want you to miss any of that. Until then, thanks for listening and I will see you in the next episode.